done when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city. We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Martin Luther King's mission was for equality for all people.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
He was trying to achieve a measure of equality for all human beings.
Let us develop a kind of dangerous unselfishness.
MLK's mission was to actually achieve for the first time in America's history a true representation of what he had declared in the Declaration of Independence 200 years ago.
He provided a voice for a movement that had actually been going on for much longer than most people realize.
No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
If I could describe MLK's mission in one word, it would be equality.
I think he would look at the world with pride now at what his work has done, but he would still know that there is a lot of injustice to root out.
I think he'd be quite disappointed at that misinterpretation of his message, because I think more often than not, the problem of racism becomes just a bullet point that people can push against each other rather than an actual problem that society needs to work on solving.
I think that when you look at Martin Luther King, the real message takeaway is that people are motivated, but they need someone to show them that their motivation can be turned into action.
I think especially in our school, we can become ignorant to the importance of Martin Luther King's message because we aren't as diverse as some of the other schools in Washington, and maybe we don't see some of the more traditional tensions that were associated with his movement. And so I think, especially in Mount High School, we have to be more vigilant against being apathetic.
Apathy is dangerous because it really shows that the people that can get away with intolerance and injustice will get away with it. Those that are committing the injustice don't have to vindicate themselves before the world. They are vindicated just by the fact that people aren't caring about them.
High school students pose a particular importance to solving societal problems because they hold the promise of the next generation.
See what happens with Eastside Catholic, like it's been going like across the nation now because they have really stepped up to the occasion and made a big point of the injustice of what's happening around them, and like anybody can do that.
To think that the world isn't going to change because of you is wrong, and it's the reason why most people don't act.
As long as people are judged on things like gender, in addition to race and other stereotypes or prejudices, as long as those barriers exist, the message of MLK still matters.
Martin Luther King dreamt of a society of equality, and not just in rights, but in voice. Today, the common person has the loudest voice in the history of civilization. Yet, today, more than ever, we take this power for granted in preference toward apathy, and choose to follow others with a certain passive-aggressive complacency. Martin Luther King showed the world that one does not just have to follow. He preached that everyone should have an equal opportunity to act on what they believe in. Everyone should have an equal opportunity to participate in societal affairs. Everyone should have the ability to change the world.
Well, if you want to sing out, And if you want to be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be, you know that there are. And if you want to live high, live high.